Manchester United's nightmare. From glory to potential relegation battle. Is Manchester United, one of football's most storied clubs, really facing relegation fears? The shocking reality at Old Trafford has left fans worldwide wondering what went wrong. Let's dive into the current crisis and what it means for the club's future. The current situation. Under new manager Ruben Amorim, who took charge in November, United finds themselves in unfamiliar territory. Sitting 14th in the Premier League with just 2 wins since Amorim's arrival, the red side of Manchester is looking more vulnerable than ever. But how bad is it really? The numbers paint a concerning picture. While United sits 7 points clear of the relegation zone, their form has been poor enough for their own manager to publicly acknowledge relegation concerns. Following a defeat to Newcastle, Amorim made a startling admission. I think that it is a possibility. We have to be clear with our fans. The financial stakes. What makes this situation even more alarming is the potential financial fallout. United's massive £900 million deal with Adidas could be at risk if the unthinkable happens. Here's what's at stake. The Adidas deal. Current value, £90 million per year. Contract length, 10 years. Relegation clause. Adidas can end the deal with 1 season's notice. Alternative option. Payments could be halved to £45 million for 12 months. But that's not all. Let's talk about broadcast revenue. Current broadcast earnings. Total revenue, £222 million. 2023-24 season. Premier League contribution, about 80% of this amount. If relegated, United would receive parachute payments worth 55% of the Premier League's equal TV rights split, amounting to £43.6 million in their first championship season. That's a massive drop from their current earnings. European revenue at risk. Even if United avoids relegation, missing out on European football could be costly. The club has earned £166.3 million from European competitions in broadcast and matchday revenue over the last 3 years. Losing this income stream would be another significant blow. What's behind the crisis? Amorim's candid words suggest deep-rooted issues. I think people are tired of excuses in this club. Sometimes I talk about relegation, because our club needs a shock. This raises important questions. Has the squad quality declined too far? Is the transition to Amorim's playing style too difficult? Are there deeper institutional problems at United? The impact on fans. For United supporters, this season has been particularly tough. The club that once dominated English football now faces the real possibility of fighting for survival. The manager's public admission of relegation concerns only adds to their anxiety. Looking ahead, while the situation is serious, there's still time for United to turn things around. With 7 points cushion from the relegation zone, the club has breathing room. However, immediate improvement is needed to ensure their Premier League status and protect their financial interests. What fans should watch for? January transfer window activity. Tactical adjustments from Amorim. Performance in crucial upcoming matches. Players' response to pressure. The bottom line. Manchester United's current predicament shows how quickly things can change in football. From being a global powerhouse to facing relegation talks, it's a reminder that no club is too big to fail. The next few months will be crucial in determining whether this is just a bad spell or the beginning of a more serious decline. For now, United fans, players, and management must unite to fight their way out of this crisis. The club's future, both on and off the field, depends on it. What do you think about United's situation? Can they turn it around, or are the problems too deep-rooted? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 10 Manchester United moves for Ruben Amorim's perfect January transfer window. Ruben Amorim with a possible Man United lineup after the January transfer window. Ruben Amorim is in the troubling position of desperately needing to add to his ailing Manchester United squad in January but having no money to make those changes. The club needs to buy to sell. With loan moves the other avenue the Red Devils are sure to pursue in a bid to turn their season around. We've come up with 10 player moves, 6 exits and 4 arrivals, which we reckon is the best Amorim can hope for in the winter window in the hope of avoiding further gut punches in 2025. Marcus Rashford out. We wonder whether Rashford had a slightly elevated opinion of his appeal when he announced he was keen on a new challenge. If he expected a flood of post-bombshell calls to his agent, he was alone in thinking that and sorely mistaken. There's been a lot of water under the bridge and far too few goals and assists since the £100 million links with Paris Saint-Germain, when Barcelona would have been making the offers rather than the other way round. There's a very decent chance that Manchester United are the problem and not him. Jadon Sancho is having a good go at proving that very case at Chelsea this season. And while there was recent evidence of Sancho's worth after what he achieved in the Champions League with Borussia Dortmund last term, while there's been very little from Rashford to hang one's hat on, there will definitely be managers confident in their ability to reignite the career of a footballer who's devastating when on song. Rashford's refuted reports that he's stepped up his bid to quit Manchester United, perhaps concerned by what it will do to his reputation if he looks to force his exit, fails to find a club in Europe willing or able to sign him and has to stay at the club he clearly can't wait to leave. Finding a buyer should be a top priority for United too, as he will command a reasonable amount of sweet pure profit, which can presumably be immediately used to sign new players, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't need to take more toys away from children. Antony out. We can't help but laugh when reports still reference the possibility of his £82 million transfer, rising to £86 million. It's not going to rise anywhere, is it? What were those add-ons? Please say it was a Ballon d'Or clause. We can debate whether it was the worst transfer in Premier League history. It would be in anyone's top 3. But there's little doubt it's the funniest. The 4th most expensive in history at the time, which is great, but much, much better because Ajax actually rejected a £76 million bid for actual Antony a couple of days before United got the deal over the line, with that rise in cost effectively ruling them out of the running to sign Cody Gakpo. It's all good stuff. Real Betis are supposedly interested in a loan where they'll pay the majority of his £200,000 per week wages, which is about the best United can hope for. Casemiro out. Incredible that he started 10 of United's 19 Premier League games this season, with the peak of bewilderment reached last time out, when Amorim handed 3 points on a plate to Newcastle by pairing Casemiro with fellow infirm, once great midfielder Christian Eriksen. He doesn't need this sh*t and is apparently keen on reuniting with Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr, which we suspect will be a rather more relaxing experience and may mean United can receive a half-decent fee. Christian Eriksen out. There's no Manchester United player we feel more pity at having to play for Manchester United than Christian Eriksen. The way Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali were popping the ball around him on Monday night was frankly harrowing to watch. Even Eriksen at his best would have hated playing in that deeper midfield role, and we can't remember the last time he played a pass worth commenting on or did anything approaching the genius things he used to do with a football, because by the time he gets it he's completely ed from the shadows he's been chasing in the preceding lung-busting minutes. There is no role suited to him in Amorim's formation, so please just let him leave now so we can enjoy him doing Eriksen stuff rather than all of the distinctly un-Eriksen stuff he's been made to do for the last year. Victor Lindelof out. Frequently accused of not quite being good enough for Manchester United, but we would counter that by arguing those accusers have maintained a 2-decade-old view of what Manchester United were, when what they are is exactly as good as Victor Lindelof. Newcastle, West Ham and Leicester are all said to be interested in the Sweden international, who's somehow only 30 despite being at Old Trafford forever, and we wouldn't put it past him being really rather good for whichever club lands him. Joshua Zirkzee out. The mixture of joy and disbelief at being handed the Man of the Match award after marking his debut with the winner against Fulham makes the fans jeering him off the pitch in defeat to Newcastle all the more depressing. It really does take a special kind of PR**CK to join in with that small-minded attack on your own player. Those so-called fans should be ashamed of themselves, and while we completely understand Zirkzee's desire to return to Serie A, or at least be anywhere else other than the Premier League, we would take great pleasure in him joining, say, West Ham, and thriving in full view of those supporters who castigated him. Serie A looks much more likely, though, with Napoli and Juventus supposedly interested, and there's a good chance United will recoup some if not all of their £36.5 million, as that was something of a bargain by courtesy of his Bologna release clause. Andreas Christensen in. We can imagine the crestfallen reactions of Manchester United fans clicking on links tipping a Barcelona star to be the marquee first edition under Amorim and discovering that man is Andreas Christensen. Understandable but a tad unfair. He's been injured this season but was more or less a mainstay for Barcelona last term, and an attractive signing in that he can operate both at center-back and in defensive midfield. Cheap given his contract expires in 2026, possibly even free as Barca look to trim the wage bill. He has lots of experience, both in the Premier League and in Europe, though with enough left in the tank as a 28-year-old. Christensen has also crucially played plenty of football in a back three, Amorim's preference, having come into the Chelsea team after Thomas Tuchel took over from Frank Lampard before playing a key role in their Champions League win. It makes total sense for Amorim to have given the green light for his transfer. Ben Chilwell in. Paraguayan teenager Diego Leon has agreed a £3 million move but won't arrive until the summer, and whether he proves to be a genuine solution to their left-back woes or not, United really need another option in that position now. Amorim has apparently already fallen into the "this is Manchester United" trap with everyone else in believing that Nuno Mendes, one of the best young left-backs in world football, will leave PSG to join a club closer to the relegation zone than European football. It's good to have top targets, but Manchester United may well have to settle for middling or even low targets right now. Hello, Mr. Chilwell. Enzo Maresca doesn't fancy him, with one possibly explanation for his Chelsea snub being that he is far more suited to playing at left wing-back rather than left-back. Hello, Mr. Amorim. There will be concern over signing another injury-prone England international to cover for Luke Shaw, but we actually quite like the idea of Manchester United with Shaw on the left of a back three and Chilwell raiding down the wing beside him. Chilwell's also pretty good at football, you know. Him not playing is quite a weird reason to dismiss him, given that's entirely to do with his unsuitability to the Chelsea system, while Amorim's 3-4-3 is made for him, as he showed under Thomas Tuchel. Randall Kolo Muani in. Kylian Mbappe's gone, and the poor B***starred still can't get a game at PSG. He started more games for France this season, 5, than his club, 2. With Marco Asensio of all people usually keeping him out of the team. United haven't got the cash to sign him in January, but reports suggest PSG would listen to loan offers with an option or obligation to buy. Sounds as though it makes sense for all parties, particularly as Kolo Muani is well versed in Amorim's 3-4-3, having played in that formation at Frankfurt, both as the central striker and in the two inverted wing positions. Dani Olmo in. Olmo's agent says he's not considering any option other than Barcelona, and while we're amused by reports claiming he would prefer not to play football at all for the next 6 months rather than move on loan to Manchester United, there's a hint of kicking while down clickbait there, and we can't see the Spain international sitting and watching for half a season in his prime years. More likely, Olmo would rather move to one of the other clubs queuing up to sign him on a temporary basis, and there will presumably be a host of them keeping tabs as Barcelona struggle to reach an agreement with La Liga over his registration in the new year. Should Manchester United keep their rising star? The Garnacho dilemma. Big news from Old Trafford. Manchester United might be considering a surprise move this January, loaning out Alejandro Garnacho. But is this the right call? Let's break down what's happening with our young Argentine star. The current situation. First, let's look at the facts. According to the Times, United values Garnacho at £50 million. That's quite a price tag for a 20-year-old. Some people at the club think he's got what it takes to make it big at United, while others seem unsure. Garnacho by the numbers. Want to know how he's doing this season? Here's the scoop. 8 goals in 28 games. 4 assists so far. Last season, 10 goals and 5 assists in 50 games. Not bad for a young player, right? But there's more to the story. What does Amorim think? Our manager sees both strengths and areas for improvement. He calls Garnacho really fast and good in 1-against-1 situations. But he also thinks the young winger needs to work harder off the ball and help out more in defense. The Atletico Madrid connection. Here's something interesting. Atletico Madrid has been watching Garnacho. They've shown interest before, and with United possibly open to a loan move, could they make their move this January? Why a loan might not make sense. Think about this. United might lose Joshua Zirkzee to either Juventus or Napoli this January. With Champions League spots looking tough to reach, can we really afford to let another attacking player leave? The case for keeping Garnacho. 1. Age and potential. He's only 20. Remember how many great players took time to develop? Garnacho's still learning, and his numbers show he's contributing already. 2. Raw talent, speed, dribbling skills, and an eye for goal. He's got the basics. Sure, his end product needs work, but that comes with experience. 3. Future value. If he develops as expected, that £50 million valuation could look cheap in a few years. Why risk losing him now? 4. Squad depth. With Xerxes possibly leaving and top 4 looking difficult, we need all the attacking options we can get. What needs to improve? Let's be honest about what Garnacho needs to work on. Defensive contribution. Decision-making in the final third. Consistency in performances. Work rate off the ball. But aren't these normal areas for improvement for any 20-year-old? The bigger picture. Here's something to think about. United has a history of young players leaving too early and succeeding elsewhere. Remember Paul Pogba's first exit? Or more recently, Jadon Sancho? Do we want to risk the same with Garnacho? What could a loan do? A loan move might give him regular playing time, less pressure to perform, new tactical experiences, time to develop away from the spotlight. But it could also disrupt his development at United, risk losing him permanently, weaken our squad mid-season. What do the fans think? This is where you come in. What do you think United should do with Garnacho? Keep him and work on his development? Or let him go on loan to gain experience elsewhere? The bottom line, at 20 years old, with 8 goals and 4 assists this season, Garnacho's showing promise. Yes, there's room for improvement, but that's normal for his age. With United's current situation, keeping him might be the wisest choice. Looking ahead, whatever happens, January will be crucial for both Garnacho and United. The club needs to think carefully about this decision. A wrong move could mean losing another young talent who goes on to shine elsewhere. What's your take on this? Should United keep Garnacho and help him develop? Or would a loan move be better for everyone? Share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, sometimes the best transfers are the ones you don't make. Could this be one of those cases? Stay tuned for more United news and keep supporting our young talents. What do you think about Garnacho's situation? Let us know below. United's January plans. Youth loans and transfer hurdles under Amorim. Big changes are coming at Manchester United this January, but they might not be the ones fans are hoping for. Let's dive into what's happening at Old Trafford under Ruben Amorim's leadership. Youth on the move. First up, 2 promising youngsters are heading out. Dan Gore and Harry Amas have gotten the green light from Amorim to seek loan moves. But who are these players? Dan Gore, the birthday boy, age 20, already made 2 senior appearances. Had a loan spell at Port Vale, cut short by injury. Made his Premier League debut on his birthday. Harry Amas, one for the future. Age 17. Defender with lots of promise. Yet to make his first team debut. Looking for his first taste of senior football. Why send them out? The goal is simple: get them more playing time. Remember what Ten Hag said about young players? They have to earn it every day in training. Well, these loans might help them do just that. The money problem. Here's where things get tricky. While sending youngsters out on loan sounds good for their development, it won't help United's bigger problem. They need money to buy new players. Amorim's been crystal clear about this. His exact words? We don't have that possibility in January. If we don't sell some players. In simple terms, no sales, no new signings. Senior players who might leave. 2 big names keep popping up in transfer talks. Marcus Rashford, lifelong United player, says he's interested in new opportunities. High wages might make January move difficult. Joshua Xerxes, only joined this summer, struggling to adapt. Italian clubs showing interest. The big questions. This situation raises some important questions. 1. Can United really afford to let Rashford go mid-season? 2. Would selling Xerxes so soon be admitting a mistake? 3. How will these youth loans help shape United's future? 4. What happens if no senior players leave? Looking at the bigger picture, United's in a tough spot. They need new players to improve, but can't buy without selling. Meanwhile, promising youngsters need game time to develop. It's a delicate balance. The youth development question. Think about it, is sending young players out on loan the right move when the first team needs help? Gore's already made his Premier League debut. Could he be useful as backup? What this means for fans. As United supporters, we might need to adjust our January expectations. Big money signings look unlikely unless someone leaves first. Instead, we might see more focus on developing what we have. The transfer window challenge. Amorim faces a tough task. Need to strengthen the team. Can't spend without selling. Must balance youth development. Has to improve results quickly. What's next? The next few weeks will be crucial. Will anyone buy Rashford or Xerxes? Can Gore and Amas find good loan moves? Most importantly, will United find a way to bring in new players? Your thoughts? What do you think about these moves? Should United keep their youngsters close? Is selling Rashford or Xerxes the right call? What positions need strengthening most? The road ahead. January's shaping up to be an interesting month at Old Trafford. While big signings might be hard to come by, sometimes the best moves are the ones that help build for the future. Stay tuned for more updates as the transfer window unfolds. What moves would you like to see United make? Share your thoughts below.